Hi everyone. Um, Let me go in another room. I'm not sure if y'all can hear me. So I know I was gonna do uh a gym video, and I know it's getting redundant, so I'm always promising to do it. I hadn't been to the gym. Well, actually, I had been, but tomorrow I'll go and I'll take my camera with me. Hopefully, the day won't be as busy as it was today. I've been dealing with a lot. I think right now, I think I'm in the spiritual just war. I've been dealing with just so much right now. It's just uh, it's a little bit just time consuming rather. Um, so tonight I went. I go to church uh, so often. I've been taking a break from church because sometimes I just need to stay home and to just find peace with myself and God. So sometimes it's just, you get so caught up going into church, you get caught up into the religion. You really don't get, the peace that you want with God. So I feel like sometimes I need to just sit down and pray and talk to God instead of just sitting in church and, you know, being talked at. But sometimes you do need to hear that. So tonight I went to church and I had a breakthrough. I was I really didn't want to go, but something told me to go, and it was just the the message that I received was just so right on point. It just let me know that everything isn't about me, and now I just feel like sometimes I'm just so selfish. I'm just checking out my nails in the um in the camera. But sometimes I just feel so selfish. I feel like I I take for granted how much God just loves me so much and how much He's trying to keep me in line. Sometimes I feel like I let Him down because I misrepresent Him, and I want to do my best to represent Him and put the best image into the world of Him, like His grace, what I know He wants me to present to the world of Him. I know He knows, I'm His child and I have, my own flaws. He forgives me as His child or whatever. But there are so many instances that I just forget that, you know, everything isn't about me. And I get so selfish and I get so overwhelmed in what's going on with myself to where I forget myself. I forget you know, I forget how to represent myself and my father, our father, you know, and I get to the point, where I just feel like that, people will think less of our, the, my father, our father that I'm worshiping. I don't want them to get the wrong representation of, of my purpose with God, my walk with God, of who I think He is. And I don't want them to think that this is what I haven't been taught better, through His grace. You know, like people say, you know better, you do better, or this is just how your parents raised you. I know better, and I don't want people to think, you know, I can do better. I know I'm not perfect, but there are, you know, I'm human, so I do have moments where I do misrepresent him, and I forget how much he loves me. Sometimes I get so selfish. I forget how much he loves me. He loves me just so much, and it doesn't matter what people do or say, because sometimes people, like the message that I received tonight, sometimes people are not, they're not taught. They don't know things. Some people don't know what love is. Some people don't know who God is. Some people don't know how much God loves them. Some people don't know how to represent our Father. Some people just don't know how to represent themselves and carry themselves in a different manner. And sometimes I feel like I get judgmental, and I I get frustrated with individuals who think differently than me. Sometimes I'm not biased by any means, but my mind sometimes overlooks the fact that everyone is different. Yeah, I may not be racist. I may not be sexist. I may not care whether you're straight or gay, or you know, I may not just be so judgmental in certain areas, but in certain areas I feel like I'm judgmental and I don't realize it, because sometimes people aren't aware of their actions. So some people are. Some people are aware that they have this negative entity and they're okay with that. But that's who that person is. And who am I to just get so frustrated to the point where I just feel so negative towards them? I feel like that's not, you know, showing good characteristics of God. You know, I want to, I forget, you know, how to, I group people into categories and I don't even realize it. Okay. I know not to, I know better than to look over children. I know better than to look over, you know, look differently or down upon people who worship differently or who are this gender or this race or however. But in certain instances, I just find myself feeling frustrated or just upset dealing with, and it's not an excuse. I'm not trying to excuse people for having, behavior problems. Some people just don't, they don't know any other way. Some people aren't going to be as kind. Some people don't know how to be kind. Some people is, every circumstance is different. And I find myself being frustrated at these individuals instead of just wanting to love them. I feel like that's where my greatest test lies. Just instead of just being able to uh, forgive, that's what we learn. Forgive. That word in church, and you have to separate for and give. And then, I, he said, with this in church, I am I am for, no, forgiven. So I am forgiving. That's what I'm for. So you're supposed to be able to give, and I'm not able to. I'm not able to give my love to others, or regardless of the circumstances. I have to learn how to forgive, and that's something. It's a mental thing. It's a hurt thing. Once they do something to you and it bothers you, are you able to forgive them? I am, but it does something to you mentally. It turns you negative. It makes you upset, frustrated, And I don't want to be that person that's unable to forgive, regardless of how often a person lashes out. I want to be able to. I am a very, I think I'm a very patient person. Usually I can walk away or I'll try to forgive you and leave it alone. But some people will. They are very, very, very persistent. They will keep going on and on with the circumstances, and I just want to be the cat's in here. I just want to be able to forgive and to love on people without restriction. That's something I'm working on. It's hard to love individuals. It's not hard because it's not hard for God. That's why I say, we're human. Well, I'm not human. Well, I'm a spirit in the human body, but my flesh, you know, I have human nature, human tendencies. My flesh tends to be annoyed and tends to want to reject individuals who are trying to hurt me. That's anyone. But to forgive them and to be able to love them still, that takes a lot. God, He's so loving. I mean, I'm just like, I feel like God, I don't even know how He can even, sometimes I don't even know how I can even face Him with the things that I do. I feel like God is amazing because me, I can look over things, but after a while they do tend to get annoying. But God, he's always trying to work with us, giving us grace and mercy, even when we don't deserve it. I mean, and that's amazing. I just sometimes I feel like when it comes to me, and when I have to come to God, sometimes I feel like it's hard for me sometimes to even face Him. I spoke with a church member saying, like, maybe it's time for us to stop. You know, we get to the point where we get comfortable doing these things, and then it gets harder and harder every time for you to face God with bringing Him, your sins for forgiveness. But that's something that's a lesson to be learned. At the same time, God loves us. He loves us so much. If we just realize how much He loves us, and that's something that I find so comforting. Just knowing, like, we can't even fathom. Our minds are just so tiny to know how much He loves us. It's like, and that's the love that I want. I mean, there's no person in this world, nothing in this world could love me more than God could love me. There's nothing. And like, I seek, that's what I seek, the love of God. And then there are times where I get distracted. And God, He reminds me, that His love is everlasting and it overflows. And the love that humans have, or anything, objects have, is temporary. We learn that through trial and error and letdowns and things expiring and all of that. That this is only worldly. And you can't get full or satisfied with the worldly, but spiritual is everlasting. And I have the flesh, it craves sometimes the world. Sometimes, well, I get distracted. On the world. I don't crave it. I know it's better for me, but it's like you go into the dang on candy store and you've been on this, you know, this healthy lifestyle for so long, and you see those nice scrumptious chocolates you love so much, you get tempted. You know what's better for you, but you know with your flesh really your flesh craves things that really are, it's just mind. It's all in your head. I feel like we train ourselves, our mind we train ourselves, or these programs are implanted in our head through us. First of all, training ourselves, we start creating habits, and then we start seeing these subliminal images, and everywhere you go, these things. So we train ourselves to want these things. Really, in reality, if we never had sugar in our lives, or we never had sex in our lives, or we never, I don't know, whatever our biggest cravings, smoking cigarettes, or did these things in our lives, we wouldn't crave them. So these things are all types of things that we create our own biggest, I don't know, let's say we're our own worst enemy, so we create our worst habits. So yeah, just trying to get out of my self mode, and learn that I'm just here. I'm only a, I'm only a soldier of God. I'm only just a pawn. I'm God's child, but I don't belong to me. I belong to Him. I'm His. So I have to learn to submit to God and let Him have His way. Sometimes, yeah, the world is tough and it will beat you down, but I still have to learn to submit to Him and give Him all the glory, all the honor, and let Him have His way, regardless of how hard, trying the situation may be. Even if that means if I have to die for what I believe in, even if that means I have to sacrifice everything I have, even if that means, losing everything and still living through, suffering through everything, and just giving everything I have in order to just prove myself, to deem worthy in God's eyes, just to stand my ground, to be His best, soldier, or child of God that I possibly can be. That's my goal. And there are moments where I do get tempted to just, like I said, I'm a spirit in a human body. This body is only dirt. These eyes, this nose, this wall, everything is it's not. It's gonna be here when I'm dead and gone. It's not even like I'm only temporary. I could die tomorrow. This video goes out, and that's that. I'm just temporary. So at the end of my spirit is forever, but this is gone. The world goes on, everybody else goes on, but I'm just temporary. Everything is temporary. So I have to live. I have to keep my spirit. I have to live for my spirit, which is forever, instead of living for the temporary, which is now, and satisfying my flesh. I try not to satisfy the flesh so much and satisfy what the spirit needs, which is forever. The flesh wants to lash out. The flesh wants to eat every single thing and glutton and greed and be so sinful. But the spirit, it craves something deeper. It does. My spirit just And you know, just you can hear it, like from anybody who just speaks like that, just speaks of anybody who speaks of God or just ever craved God. Your spirit seeks it. Your spirit wants it, but the flesh is so. The flesh is something else. It's something. It's a battle between the flesh and the spirit. My flesh, my spirit seeks more. It really does. It wants to be purified. It wants to be replenished and full of the spirit. But the flesh is it gets tempted with worldly trials, tribulations, tests, objects. Like I said, that's my mission for this year, to put my best foot forward in this world. Because all of this, all of this, all of this is just outward. I mean, yeah, you see an image, but that's just the outward image. My spirit moves. I can be. God could have put my spirit in any capsule. I could be anything. So this is just outward. It's the inward that really matters. I want it to be. I want to do my best to discipline it, to show God that I'm able to do what He needs me to do, to be disciplined enough to follow His commandments, to be in a leadership position. I can't do anything for God if I cannot follow His order. How can He trust me with anything if I'm unable to show Him that I'm able to take a leadership position and do what He needs me to do without ruining everything and just following my own way instead of listening to Him? Because it's like a trust fall. If He says I got you and I fall or I'm scared to fall and have faith in Him, then what does that mean? If He says, look, I got you, then I have to trust and believe that He has me. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to say, God loves you, and so do